So the last thing I'm going to show you guys before I go on to the first project, which is a simple toque, is how to do cabling. For those of you who don't know what cabling is, though I know you've seen it, it's this, right here. Basically it's this twist in the knitting, in the fabric, that makes it look like it's a cable all the way up, or a rope, if you will. You can do lots of really cool intricate patterns with it, like braids. But I'm just going to show you the most basic one. What you need to do a cable, you need a little bit more than just your yarn and your knitting needles. You need either a double pointed knitting needle or a cable stitch holder. This one's a little bit skinny for this, but it serves its purpose. So also, the other thing that you have to keep in mind when you're doing a cable is that it takes up a lot of room. So this, as you can see by this side here, it's actually quite a bit longer in the end, like the part where there is no cable and the part where there is. Also, the part where there's a cable, it's not nearly as stretchy. So one of the reasons why I'm showing you this after I showed you how to do the knit and then the purl and then the knit is because this is always something you see in a cabled garment. But the only time I've ever actually seen it in a garment that is cabled, actually have not seen it, sorry, in a cabled garment, is one that I made myself from this really weird pattern. And I was like, when I was done, I was like, this is kind of a weird pattern. So here goes. So you just go about like normal. In this case, there are 16 stitches, 2 knit, 3 purl, 6 knit to prepare for the cable, and then 3 purl again, and then 2 knit again for the edge. Okay, so here's the tricky part. What you have to do is you take your cable stitch holder and you just feed the loops onto it. You don't knit them on, you just feed them on. There you go. Now we have 3 loops on the cable stitch holder. And the reason why it's this shape is so they can sit here while we pull this side over. As you can see, it's got pulled over on the bottom here. This is the trickiest part because you have to keep your stitches tension the same. So make sure you pull nice and tight. Okay, so there you go. 1, pull tight. 2, and 3. There you go. And now we don't just keep going on. We actually have to knit this. So I'm just going to put all these stitches down here and let go of that needle. They'll be fine. They won't come off the end, especially if you put it really close to the end where the bump is. And then you just knit the stitches on the cable stitch holder like normal. Also, be careful not to stitch it from the wrong direction. And you can tell because if you can see the purl stitches, yours is the wrong direction. It needs to be the knit stitches. And then the tension's going to be really wonky here, so hold on very tightly to it. Alright, so knit 1. See me fighting with the tension. Knit 2. And finally, knit 3. There we go. And it's very, very, very tense. And then you just go about knitting and purling like normal. So 3 purls. 1. Remember, you have to keep the tight tension here too. This is actually where you find the most gaps in the knitting, is the first purl after your cable. And now from the other side, which is the opposites, just like last time we did it. 1, 2. Okay, so when the tension gets really tight on you, the best thing to do is push all your stitches way down the needle, which I've done, but be really, really careful that none of them slip off. Okay. And then stitch like normal. Oh, see, I just pulled it off. If you catch it early enough, you can just pick it up with your fingers and put it back on. And if not, then if you go so fast that you can't do that or you can't fix it in some way, I recommend just going back to before you did the cable, like pulling out your stitches all that way back and then doing it again, because that's the best way to make it not all, you know, messed up. And so you can see here, there's a big gap from where the cable started. So again, you have to pull really tight. Make sure it's really tight when you're doing that. And now back around to the right side. You can see it's kind of started, but best thing to do so you can kind of see it actually looking like a cable down, like this one down here, is to just keep on going and then we will see what it looks like. At this point right here, you'll notice how much it does not stretch, unlike a normal bit of knitting would. You can see the cable starting to come along there. Still kind of loose here, but that's not really something you can get around, because pulling the 3 stitches under the other 3 to make the cable will do that. Best thing you can do is try and make the hole not huge. And if it happens that one of your cables is just looser than you want it, you can either pull the stitch tighter on your own, or you can sew it. I like to go by the rule that every garment has to be finished everywhere, but that doesn't mean that you can't have some extra stitches in there, as long as it looks good on the outside and nothing is loose. Because when something is loose, everything can come apart, especially with knitting. Good rule to follow by in sewing as well. Alright, so there you go. That is how you make a cable.